Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And my name is Amanda, also known as Dramatic Mandy.
And today is Sunday, February 10th, 2019. This is episode 325. Wow, 325 episodes in 8 years. I think we are doing pretty darn good. Oh man, for years this podcast, if you're new to it, by the way, if you're new, thanks for checking us out. If you're a returning viewer, thanks again. But this show used to be weekly, and that's how I've racked up a lot of those episodes. But, you know, eventually life gets in the way, and you gotta go bi-weekly to show more progress, but it's been a long journey, so we're excited to do our Podiversary episode probably this coming weekend. We may record on the road, and I'll post it before we leave. But anyway, so welcome, and there's going to be a lot to show and talk about today. All will be revealed as to the mysterious cliffhanger I left you guys on in episode 324 as to what's going on in our lives. And no, we're not pregnant. I have been asked by several people. We do not live a lifestyle in which we are acclimated or could become acclimated to children. In terms of how much we travel for work and, you know, how we live our life. It's just...
Only puppy children.
Yep, we're good. I taught high school for 8 years, if you're new. I got my kid fix. We've got a niece and nephew that we spoil in Indiana when we get out there and we make time. You know, when we're out there, we get our kid fix. I like kids that I can give back. So anyway, let's just jump right in to what's been going on the past 2 weeks. A lot of errand running for me. I had to go to the dentist last Monday. I had pushed that off because I had to cancel because originally it was scheduled while we were on vacation and wasn't going to fly back from Walt Disney World to go to the dentist. So I was putting it off, but I eventually rescheduled it, and they're happy with my progress, but of course, you know, they want me to come more often than my insurance will pay for, so I'm like, of course you do. Big box store dental stores, yay! But they're happy with the progress, so that's good. Yeah, just been doing a lot of errands and running around and prepping for show season to begin, which begins this weekend. That's crazy to believe. We're going to hit the ground running like we normally do, and it'll be a straight... Other than one decent break, it will be a straight marathon till mid-November this year. So, but that's good. That's what we want. That's what keeps us busy and keeps the business alive. So... we've gone to knitting. I've gone to knitting a couple times. You went yesterday, and been spending a lot of time watching TV shows and movies with Andy in the evenings, which is really nice. As I've talked about before, a lot of times I'd come up here to my yarn room office and watch shows or podcasts, and he would watch stuff on the TV, and then eventually, you know, we'd meet going to bed, and, you know, then we turn each other away from each other and we play on our phones and...
With the giant, actual body-sized pillow in between.
Andy does like a body-sized pillow, or what do you call it? A body pillow.
But it's the weight of a person.
It's a memory foam one, so yes, it is very, very heavy. But whatever. I snuggle with a blanket. I have a blanket that I sleep with and a blanket that I actually ball up, and it's cool. It's cool. Anyway, so, yeah, let's just get the elephant into the room, or out of the room, or however you want to use that colloquialism. Colloquialism. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have little sisters for other than to make fun of you when you try to use big words? Anyway, so, what's been going on in... our lives, our meaning myself, Andy, and Amanda, and the world of leading men fiber arts is we're not pregnant. We're not moving homes, but we are moving our business out of our home and into our new studio. So we have bought a studio in our small town, and it's actually right down the street from us on our town square. So it was formerly a dog groomer's, and it's where we get our pups groomed. And we had heard through the grapevine that they were going to be building their own new dog groomer, doggy daycare type place on the outskirts of town, and they were going to eventually be selling the storefront. Well, one of the last times they took the dogs in to be groomed, me being mean, being forceful and inquisitive is a better way to put it, I was like, hey, you guys moving? If so, we're interested, because we had talked about it. It's actually set up right now to be perfect as the dye studio. And because it's kind of sectioned off into 3 areas in the length of the building. And so she's like, yeah, eventually, but I hadn't really thought about when I would, list and everything. This is like 4 or 5 months ago. And so she's like, well, I was talking with someone else about it. And I said, well, we'd be really interested. So we had chit-chatted with her. She had thrown out a price. And after looking at comps and reviewing our budget, we were like, yeah, that's totally doable for us. So it has been a lot of, logistics and legals, and first time working without realtors. So, but we are purchasing a commercial building on our town square, and we're super excited. It is a small building, small in terms of commercial. It's about the little bit shorter than the square footage of our entire home, but there is a unfinished basement that is the same square footage. So a lot of storage, drying of yarn, things like that will be going down there eventually. But we close on the building tomorrow, so it's really exciting. We are going to spend the few days before leaving for Knitting Pipeline and Stitches West, kind of moving and getting ourselves acclimated and over there, and making sure everything's clean to what we would like. It does have a storefront, which is really nice. However, that is not our priority at the moment. While I would love it to be, Andy's the one that keeps me in check in terms of finances, expanding too quickly, and just being realistic with our budget and our income. So while we would love to open to the public on certain days, that is the plan in a year or 2, is to have open studio days when we are in town, to have gatherings and knitting and classes and things of that nature. But our plan is to pay off the building. It is not unobtainable that we could pay off the building this year. And then we would like to save up to remodel. Right now there's been drop ceilings and beadboard put in, and what you can do is it's an old building, but about turn of the century, 1900s, and we're planning on exposing the brick behind the beadboard, and there's actually the original tin ceiling, and we want to restore that and remodel the store and things of that nature, but it's down the line. So, but yeah, we own our own studio. I would never think that in my early 30s I would own 2 pieces of property. And yeah, it's just been crazy thinking of all the logistics. We've had to get business things turned over. We were from a partnership. We're now a limited liability corporation partnership, and the business is actually renting the building from us. We're purchasing the building. It's crazy to think of all the adulting and things that we've had to learn, and I'm lucky that I have a partner who has graciously gone along with this with me, because there are things that I put into his court and there are things that are definitely in my court, and we balance each other out. And then we have this one over here who definitely helps us keep all the juggling balls in the air, if that makes sense. So we definitely could not be where we are now without the help of Amanda. So I hope she knows that she is very much appreciated on the team.
Don't say that stuff.
So she's going to be helping us move over there and get acclimated and get her station kind of set up. And she's been helping with ideas and things of that nature. So it's been fun brainstorming. So how's your 2 weeks been? So yay, new studio. That's the big news. All is revealed.
Yeah, I can't one up that. So, yeah, just same old, same old. Except last weekend I got to spend with my longtime best friend at her place. She's the one that I'm doing the painting with, and we were planning on painting, and we painted for like 10 minutes and then just kind of drank a lot. Too much. But it was a lot of fun. We played a lot of games. They play this game, I think it's called Jackbox. You use your phone. It's like a TV game, but you use your phone to like put in your own answers and whatnot. And it's really fun. So we played that a lot. Stayed up way too late. And that was about it.
We hung out yesterday.
Yeah.
We did a lot of shopping.
We went like 8 stores.
That's a lot for me. Like,
Yeah.
most of the time it's like 2. And then we're like, all right, let's go home. So, I ended up spending more money than I probably should. But
He got this gorgeous black item. I got these gorgeous black things. Pants.
sweatpants. I got like activewear shirts that I was like, it's good enough to go out of the house in, but still gonna be comfy walking to work. Because, yeah, when I say we're down the street, we're probably 3 blocks.
It's pretty quick, yeah.
It takes maybe 5 minutes to walk down there, if that. So we're gonna walk to work. The pups will be going with us in the studio.
That's just the funny thing, though. He has to, like, get up and go to work now.
Yeah.
He has to leave the house.
I'm like, I'd like to be in the studio by 9 a.m., but I'm usually, like, strolling down the stairs, if I'm lucky, by 9 a.m. to, like, have my breakfast and, you know. Alarms don't work so well for me anymore unless I'm on the road and, like, know I have to get up.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing in your brain. It's just like, well, I don't actually have to. Like, what's
There's
gonna
no
happen?
dire need.
Yeah.
Like, I can sleep in.
Dire need. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, that's so punny.
I like puns. Yeah, so nothing else too interesting. Except today we gotta get this going because the Grammys are on and Fall Out Boy is nominated for the first time in my entire life. I'm gonna cry. I'm probably gonna scream if they win, and if they don't win, I'm probably gonna scream. So
Good to know.
it's exciting.
All right, well, let's get to the episode, and let's start with what's taking about. I've got nothing. Sorry.
That's what happens when you knit like 900
I know, I have
projects.
way too many whips on the needles, but I am hoping to finish something possibly tonight. I'm going to spend this whole evening trying to get this done because I need it to be blocked here at home before we hit the road. So, but yeah.
It was supposed to be done at the end of last year.
It's supposed to be, but I don't hold myself accountable. Do you have anything finished?
Nope.
Okay, so let's move into what's performing. So what do I want to get done tonight? That is the Paulette by Jen Lucas, and I'm using 2 skeins of Bleeding Men Fiber Arts Showcase, which has been discontinued. However, we do have some in back stock that can be dyed. We have had a couple people put in custom orders, and there is, of course, the yarn still in the shop. We do not plan on traveling with it as of right now. It's just going to be staying at home, but I will have kits in the space traveling with me. So this is the Paulette. It's a sequence striped body with a lace edging, and I'm using, again, Showcase in Pretty Petals is the speckled purple and gold, and then Heliotrope is the semi-solid purple that I'm doing the lace. So I think I added it up and I have 8 more rows and then 4 more rows of the edging and a bind off. So 12 rows and a bind off I need to get done tonight. I think it's doable. I think I can do it, especially since it's like a little after 3 right now. So that will be a finished object by the next time we record. Because, by the way, I'm going to let you know right now before I forget, you will not see us per usual for 3 weeks. Because of my travel schedule, I will not be home to record. And so we're going to not see each other for 3 weeks. But Amanda and I will put out our question and answer podiversary episode next weekend. So it won't be a formal episode, but if you want to, catch up with us, you could do so there. All right, by the way, that's being knit on a size 5 US, which is a 3.75 millimeter needle. Next up is my Adventurers wrap by Amba OBrien. I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper Mini Skein collection in the 2018 It's Not an Advent Calendar Mini Skein collection. And I don't know how much more I've gotten done on this, maybe 1 or 2 colors. And it started here with the purples. And we were in the greens last time. See lots of greens. And we're now here to the soft brown to black walnut. So I think I'm about halfway there. So it's going. This is on a size 5 US as well, 3.75 millimeter needles. I will eventually have kits for this traveling, but not until I'm done with the sample, since this is not going to be hanging up. And it will take some time to dye even 10 kits because it's got 25 mini skeins, and if I've got to dye, 25 pots of yarn, I could do it in a day, but that would be my whole day, is just dyeing these kits. So I will get on that when this sample is done. Next up are my Socks on a Plane by Laura Linneman. These are loosely based on Laura Linneman socks. Basically, all I'm doing is taking the cable texture, the cable panel running down the leg, and I've planted it on my normal sock recipes. So for the main yarn, I'm using Ethereal Fibers Nebula Sock in the Natural History Nudie Run colorway. It was based off of her autocorrect series. And then I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper Intermission in the Sandcastle colorway for heel and toe. And I've put the toe, I've started it here. But I don't have a hoe yet. A hoe is a half object. Amanda's like, what? She's not heard this terminology.
I mean, I've never mind.
She's like, I've heard of the gardening tool.
Oh, yeah, that.
So you can see here the cable running. I will alter the placement of the cable to be on this side, and I will flip the direction of the cable for the second sock. So that's going, and I do knit my socks 2 circs. So that's that, and that's knit on a size 1 US, which is a 2.25 millimeter needle. Next up for me is The Weekender by Andrea Mowry. I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts West End, which is our new non-superwash worsted weight, in the Bent Neck Lady colorway. And I am alternating skeins throughout. And this is supposed to be done by Stitches West in 2 weeks. We'll see. It is knit inside out, so... Holy moly cajoli. I showed you that the front or back, yeah, don't mind my really bad end placement there. This is the actual right side. So I can kind of show you here. I've done the shoulder shaping on the back. Now I will go to the ribbing at the top. And then I will bind off, and then I think you join the shoulder seams, and then you pick up the sleeves and knit down. So I'm almost to Sleeve Island. Just a little bit longer to go. But this will be a shop sample as well as an Amanda sweater. She will model it for me graciously.
Did you drop something?
I think I dropped a multitude of things. I don't know. Yarn, I thought, but maybe not. That's alright. We'll pick it up afterwards. I'll know where it goes. Alright, next up. Are you keeping track? Because I don't know how many I'm on right now.
3?
No, this is 4. No, this is 5.
Whoa.
Is the Stripe Study, and I am almost done with this too. This is by Vera Valimaki. I'm using Yarnies of Texas 70/30 Merino Silk in the Austin City Limits colorway, which I have finished. I had this much left over, so not too bad. And then I'm using Hedgehog Fibers Sock in the Crystal colorway. And I am on the edging. And it says to knit the edging for 4 inches. I may do that. We'll see how long this lasts me. I may just keep going until this runs out so that I don't have any leftovers. I think it's a good way to use up all the yarn, and the pattern accommodates itself to that pretty easily. So again, my cord is too short, but you can kind of see here the asymmetry done with short rows. This side gets much bigger. So, and then we've got all this going on. So it's just the gray at the bottom. So it's going. Can't wait to show you that in its full glory once it's been blocked.
Do you know how many stitches that is?
No idea.
It's a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm one of those people you just don't tell me and I'll be okay. I don't want to face the truth. Alright. Number 6 is the Make Your Own Luck by Lisa Ross. I am using Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper in the Darkest Hour for the black, and then that mini skein just rolled across this office. Then for the mini skein gradient, I'm using Black Cat Fibers Nomad Sock Gradient in the Melancholia colorway, and I am on color 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I just it takes 10 different colors. I did actually read to the end of the pattern because now the shawl will stay the same amount of stitches. It doesn't grow anymore, but you do bring in the first and second color at the end, so they kind of fade from one end to the other. So I'm adding this green section now, which is really cool. Loving this. The iPad camera doesn't know what to do. It's like washing us out when we bring up all the colors. So that's knit on a size 5 as well, 3.75 millimeter needle. And then last but not least, I finished a row on my granny square blanket, so I get to update you on progress. Amanda, I have a new goal of trying to complete 1 square a day when I'm home and not on the road. And if I finished today's square, I would have finished a whole row. And Amanda, like yesterday we were out, she's like, you need to do 2 on Saturday night, last night. And she's like, just so it's done so you can show it on the podcast. So I did 2, and then I had to crochet all across back to the beginning of the row. That's sample knitting. Swatch knitting. So I have finished 5 rows. It is 15 squares across. My goal is to get to 20 high. That's going to be a total of at least 300 squares. I'm at 75. So you can do the math. I'm at 5 of 20. So that's 20%. Right? 25%.
Yeah.
I'm at 25% of the way done. And, you know, if you do the math, 300 squares, I could knock out one of these a year. Easily. Well, I'm traveling a lot, so.
Yes or no.
Anyway, so I don't know who's, what's what. Some are from old projects, some are from people that I've picked up on the way, or, you know, around. But this last row is the one you haven't seen, so there's 1, and 2, and 3. I do 5 round granny squares with a C 3mm hook. I know that one's Yarn Geek. This one is Head in the Clouds on Monologue. And 2 of these are actually sport weight. I do include sport weight fingering and sport. This is Eternal Kiss, which is no longer being dyed. This is Film Noir by Hedgehog, as part of my Find Your Fade. This is some Mad Tosh, but I don't remember what I used it for. This is Anne with an E again on Callback. This is some Knit Picks Felici. I want to say this is Black Cat. And then I do know, because I did these 2 last night, this is Northern Bee Studio. So let's do that one more time, trying to show all of it. There it goes, there it goes. Eventually, this is probably the last row that I can show you everything. Yay! There it goes.
Do the way!
Even our mom saw this while she was here this week, and she was liking it. So that
She says
says
about
something.
everything, and then I'll try to give it to her. She's like, I don't want that.
She thought it looked cool. But... All right, so that's it for me. That's all. Just those few things is all I'm working on.
Good job.
Back to you, Amanda.
Well, the weather today. I am also doing the Adventure scarf wrap, and I'm doing the scarf version with his leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta unroll it. I'm not as far as him because
She has to wait for me to get the leftovers.
Well, yes, but also last week I didn't knit at all. I didn't even pick it up. It was one of those come home, chill, make yourself a drink, and just sit back and think about nothing kind of weeks. So I'm not as far as him, but I've got all the way to, I think that's Winter Shrubbery. Oh, you can't really see it, but I'm starting on this color here. So yeah.
Cool.
Same thing. And last episode,
Last we spoke,
I said I was thinking about making socks.
and some of you left very nice comments and messages. Thank you.
Yes.
For encouraging her.
And so I decided to. Sorry, I gotta roll my stuff up like a burrito. Who doesn't like a good burrito, right? Anyways, I decided to, and with the help of this man over here, he helped me find just an easy pattern. He kind of showed me the way. So I am making my favorite vanilla socks by Megan Schmaltz.
She's known as the unapologetic knitter.
Yeah.
On Ravelry.
And I'm pretty sure they're just basic socks. She says to use a US size 2, but I'm using 1.5. She said, or to get your gauge, and I kind of looked, and I think I'm on gauge for the first time.
I suggested she go with a 1.5, just because I know her knitting, and I thought it would fit better. So I found that pattern just because I was going to write out my recipe, and I was like, you know what, I'd rather just find somebody who... because she was looking at a design that was all in centimeters and meters and things, which is fine, but I wanted her to have a pattern that I could easily reference and be like, this is how I do it. And so I also gave her the book that I taught myself knitting, which is an Ann Budd classic, whom you know I'm a huge fan of Ann Budd, especially after meeting and hanging out with her this past fall. But it is Getting Started Knitting Socks. It is it's a little dated in the patterns, but it is a great reference for starting to knit socks because it walks you through from selecting your yarn and the amount of yarn you need to getting gauge, what type of gauge, what socks you can do, how many you need to cast on for the gauge you're getting, and then gives you visuals including photo and illustration tutorials on each part of the sock and how to get it done and knit it. So
yeah, I even cracked it open to help me because when I first started I was very confused and I'm always unsure of myself and everything I'm doing it right, and so I had to crack it open and kind of take a peek. But so I was gifted this yarn by Steve last Christmas, I think, when I kind of really picked up knitting, and I've wanted to use it from that point on. This is the Knitted Wit Victory sock in the, I didn't even know the colorway, and I thought it was kind of witchy, and it's called Witch's Brew. It's so cool, and people are like, oh, it's like Halloween. I don't care. Halloween's all the time for me, because I'm into very dark, macabre things all year round.
it's a lot of people love Halloween,
but
all year round.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. So I was off to a rough start, and I had to stop, and I came over and tried to, I asked Steve, I was like, am I doing this right? And I think I was knitting like counterclockwise, so it was like inside out, I guess. So he literally just flipped it and blew my mind.
She was just like when they say knit color work inside out so that your floats are on the outside and it stretches them. That's all she was doing. She was just knitting on the back needle the whole time. And I was like, wait, you just go like this. And so she's like, what? And yeah.
So from that point forward, I got a lot done. Because I don't know when I start these, Wednesday or something. But, yeah. I'm actually kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I told her I was really excited how she had some pooling and flashing in the ribbing, but I really love how it broke up after she got into the stockinette section. So we'll see how it looks when she gets to turning the heel.
Oh, that's when I'm gonna be like, okay, bye. We're gonna put that aside.
It's not that hard.
Do you just knit on one needle?
I told you that.
Okay, that's what
do the heel flap, and then you gotta do some short rows.
Oh, I've never done those. And the girl at knitting yesterday, she couldn't figure out those short rows.
It's fine. It's not that difficult.
Okay. So yeah, I'm doing that.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm not monogamous anymore. Oh
well. So let's talk about what's in rehearsal. For me, I'm possibly thinking about casting a boomerang. It depends on what I get done before this weekend. We are going to be attending the Knitting Pipeline Retreat in Washington, Illinois this Friday and Saturday. And so I want something mindless, but right now I have the striped study edging that I can do that's really mindless. And so we'll see. I also could get to Sleeve Island, and I should be working on that on the weekender, so we'll see.
Yeah, and I just said swatches, because I know he doesn't really count those as knitting, even though he knits them, but I'm going to, because I'm that person. So, I haven't done them in I don't know how many months. It's been a long time. But, yeah, I think they're going off again. So, hopefully.
Going off into the sunset of California.
Yeah. I'll be with my puppies. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's talk about behind the scenes, my spinning. I did start some new spinning. I started some Leading Men Fiber Arts vintage fiber, even though we did add some fiber to the shop this week. We added some Cheviot. And we have some merino coming in the mail. We'll just see when that gets dyed, though. But this is some vintage super sock, which is 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon in the Mother Earth colorway. I am on the second 2 ounces. I'm trying to spin it a little bit thicker, and I'm fractally spinning it. So
that's so soft.
I don't think it's the softest thing, because it is superwash wool. It's not superwash merino per se. So
it felt soft to me.
So I am working on that. So let's move into the scene shop. What is going on in the world of our other crafts? I will say I have not warped my loom. I honestly probably will not warp it until we're back from California. I have meant to, but it takes a good evening to warp the loom, and I just haven't been feeling it. I'm like, not tonight. Not tonight, loom. So no weaving to show this episode from me. But I am working on my cross stitch, my dimensions kit in the moment. And can you see where the blue should be finishing out? Yeah, I ran out of the kit blue, so we had to go and buy some DMC equivalent, so I can finish out those like 20 stitches of blue.
Big spender at Hobby Lobby yesterday.
I was, because I talked myself out of not getting anything else, so I used my 40% coupon off on a 50-cent item. It was 37 cents with tax. That's all we got. So, but I can now finish that blue and move on and hopefully get that done soon. So that's it for me.
Stop it.
I'm sorry. It's like that 4 o'clock. I did work all morning, so.
I am still working on my colorful club. I can't talk.
Colorful clowy flower.
Colorful cow.
All right.
By Artiste, and I don't remember what you saw last, but I don't feel like taking it out.
But you can look up its nose.
Yeah, I've got that little, that bothers me. That's not filled in yet. I did a lot of, this took forever, this like reddish, I kept keeping it Keeping it going. I'm losing my words today, but it's so cute. Gotta keep working on that. And then I actually brought my paint by number to show you. It's called Old Farmhouse by something or other. Plaid. But I don't know. I got some sky done. So.
Ooh, look at that. Your tree looks cool.
Oh yeah. That's actually all done. All of that. I've completed every little teeny tiny crevice in that corner, and I'm branching outwards. It actually...
No pun intended.
Okay. Look at us, we're just full of puns. So when Miranda and I first got these, mine had a lot more bigger spots where hers had a ton of little teeny tiny spots. And she was like, oh, no fair. Well, we both realized we don't like doing the big spots as much because, especially with lighter colors, it can almost get streaky, or like if you look really close, because we're both kind of perfectionists in a way, and it's like, oh no, we gotta go over that again. But like from far away, it looks nice. But it's coming. It's actually a lot of fun. So yeah, that's all I've got going on.
Cool. Well, let's move into In the Spotlight. What are we watching and reading? I have found my reading/listening bug again, so that's good. But in terms of what I'm watching, I'm in the show notes at dramaticnits.com. You can see all the shows that I am currently watching, but I'm not going to go over the ones that I've already talked about in lieu of saving time and not being repetitive. But some new shows we've started watching are Homeland on Prime. That stars Julia Roberts, and we're enjoying it so far. And we're also watching Forever, which stars Maya Rudolph, and another one of her co-stars formerly from SNL.
Wait, Homeland. I thought it was called Homecoming.
Oh, Homecoming. Sorry.
It's like
I just remembered it said home and it had something to do with the army. All right, Homecoming. Sorry. But we're also watching Forever, which is a comedy with Maya Rudolph and a former SNL co-host. About life after death, and so it's funny. I'm enjoying it. Some movies that we've been watching. Last night we watched a newly Netflix released movie called Velvet Buzzsaw, which stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, and a bunch of other names. John Malkovich is in it. I thought it was okay. It didn't blow me away. I guess it was a big hit at the Sundance Film Festival, and I was hoping for a little bit more. I felt like it took artistic license because it dealt with art rather than actually being artistic. Anyway, check it out. It just got released, I think, on Friday. It's got some supernatural aspect to it, but also...
But also it has Jake Gyllenhaal.
Well, but it's character driven as well, so there's that. We watched Valerian, which is a sci-fi movie where two basically galaxy explorers, federal agents. It's based off of a comic book. Rihanna's in it for like 2 scenes. I thought it was a bit over the top, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the visual effects of it. I don't think it was favorably looked upon based on reviews and things like that. Andy did not care for it at all. It's a bit long, and he gritted his teeth and bared with it, but I thought it was okay. We watched another Netflix movie called Mara. This is a scary movie. You might like it, actually. Deals with the sleep demon. It was okay. Andy thought it was better than Valerian.
Was it like a sleep paralysis thing?
They are paralyzed, yes, but then the sleep demon visits them. So it's okay. It's one of the hot trending movies on Netflix. And then we also watched Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't care for it as much as the first one. Andy wanted to watch that one. He's like, I liked the first one. But what I really did like was the ending credits rolled into the whole Marvel series and the... What's that movie with all of them?
Avengers.
The Avengers movie. It rolled into that timeline, which is the new one comes out in March. So I liked that. That was like, oh. There is a whole premise to the beginning of the movie to one of the Captain America movies that we did not see, and we're like, oh, well, I don't get what's going on here or what they're referencing. Missed that train. But yeah, so that's it in terms of watching. I'll let you talk about what you've been watching here in case you need your notes.
I haven't been watching anything new, though.
Oh, okay.
So...
Nothing new?
Just my typical shows. I have no time to watch, like, movies or anything anymore because all my shows are back on, which I'm not complaining, but I gotta get home and I gotta watch my shows that start at 7 o'clock every day. So. No, but Live PD was good this weekend. Okay. On to you, Steve.
I finished 2 books since last we recorded. One I finished this morning, actually, and I started a new one, which I'll talk about that one once I finish it. By the way, I left you the book on the table where you put your stuff, in case you wanted her to see if Mom wants it. 'Cause
You actually read it?
no, I downloaded it. So I have no use for the book.
Okay.
I have a whole, half a bookshelf now of books that I had bought back when Borders was a thing. And I was really into actually, reading books and collecting books. But now I kind of am vetting those out and trying to listen to some of them and clear out those shelves. So, but anyway, the first book that took me forever to finish, and I just wasn't having my listening mojo, and to be honest, the story was like a 3-star, was the second in the, I can't remember his name now, Amos Decker series by David Baldacci, and that's The Last Mile. And the whole premise of Amos Decker is that he suffered a close to fatal blow in his first professional football game that he was drafted in the NFL, and his first play he was knocked unconscious and has dealt with repercussions with that ever since. And part of the changes in him ever since then is that he has he can never forget anything. So he has a perfect memory now, and he can also see certain things in colors that coordinate with certain emotions and things like that. So the first book in the series I really enjoyed. The second one was okay. I did finish it. It's, your typical killer cop drama with a little bit of something, a slightly different twist. So I'm not saying that I won't come back to the series if I come across it. It just took me a while to get through this one, so it kind of left a bad taste, and I need to whet my appetite with a few other things before I go back to it. I then listened to the second book in the... Well, I don't know what the series is called, but I read a book last year called The Girl with All the Gifts, and then somebody kindly recommended, they said Netflix, but I found it on Prime. Amazon Prime has The Girl with All the Gifts, which is they made it into a movie. It stars Glenn Close as one of the characters, but it is essentially a zombie plague has come across the universe, and the second generation, the children of zombies, are of higher intelligence. This is not a sequel. It's actually a prequel to The Girl with All the Gifts, and this is The Boy on the Bridge, which is by M.R. Carey. And I devoured it in like a week listening to it. I enjoyed it. I definitely think it can stand alone at its own book, but I definitely think I would recommend listening to it or reading it after you've read the first one. Even though you're going back in time, I think there's a lot more to be gained from knowing the initial story. So that's The Boy on the Bridge by M.R. Carey, which I have linked to Goodreads in the show notes. So, anything new from you? No books? All right, let's talk stash enhancement. I was good and I was gifted. Good and gifted. So last weekend, I went to knitting by my lonesome, which is never a good thing, because this one usually is a nice, angel in my ear telling me to not spend money.
No, I'm like the devil one.
Well, the devil would tell me to spend money.
Well,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, so. But anyway, the store was busy, but not a whole lot of people were there for knitting, but there was a regular, and she was shopping for yarn to make the Shift Cowl by Andrea Mowry. And so she was looking at a lot of yarns that kind of have that two color plied together, changing color hand spun effect. And I was like, you know what? I wanted a kit for the night shift at Indian Tangled, and they sold out, so I didn't get one. So I was like, let me just look around. And I found a very cheap option to make the night shift cowl, or the night shift is a shawl, worsted weight, using spin cycle yarns, and you're supposed to have 6 50-gram balls, so essentially 300 grams of worsted weight, and you alternate the colors. And I decided I was going to go with 2 colors, because they do graduate and change, of an acrylic, because it was a lot cheaper, and they're 200-gram balls. So I picked up 2 skeins of Cascade Yarns Pinwheel, and this is color 25 and this is color 27, so this is like a gold and blues and greens. And again, these are both 200 grams, 440 yards. And so I thought I would just knit and not change, not adjust my colors. I would just knit from one to the end. So for $10 a piece, I was like, that's much cheaper than the kit yarn. Not that the kit yarn isn't beautiful and worth the price, but I was like, for something I really don't need to be stash enhancing, and who knows when I'm going to get to it, this was a little bit more affordable. And I had a $5 gift certificate from the drawing that our local yarn store does every week on Tuesday. They have the Skein Up Club, so you purchase a membership and you get tickets, and every week they draw tickets. It's kind of like Queen of Hearts. And so every week tickets are put in, and you put your name on a ticket and a number between 1 and 50, and they pull a ticket, and the person whose ticket they win, they open that number, and there's 50 prizes in a box, and they open their coordinating number, and a lot of times it's a $5 gift card, or a pattern, or a skein of Eucalyptus, or a bottle of Eucalyptus. And every week a skein of yarn is added to the golden ticket stash. And so eventually this ticket will be picked, and it will be the golden ticket. The number will coordinate. And so the last time this was done, I think we got up to like 37 skeins of yarn. It was like 37 weeks that the before the golden ticket was finally picked. So this, I had a $5 gift certificate from the first week since we restarted it, because not a whole lot of people were putting tickets in, because there was only one skein in the stash. And then last week I won again, but lo and behold, on the second drawing, I won the golden ticket. So there's only 2 skeins in the golden stash compared to 37 that the previous winner had won. But that's all right. I don't need more stash. So, and I'm appreciative of the 2 skeins I got. So the first one was a skein of Rowan Felted Tweed. Excuse me, it's 50 grams, 50% wool, 25% alpaca, 25% viscose. And this is in color 202. It's a beautiful teal green, my favorite color. And then the second skein that I won was a skein of Manos del Uruguay Alegria in the color Colibri. Dying for that seafoam green right there, and these 2 shades of purple and some like really light, almost natural. So I told you I'm going to knit the Night Shift by Andrea Mowry with the 2 skeins of Cascade Pinwheel. I chose a skein or a pattern of fingerless mitts to knit with this, and then I chose this as one of my skeins that I will be doing an Amba OBrien pattern with. It's like a 3 skein color, and I picked this as my speckle. So I don't have the other 2 skeins yet, but I said that will go towards that pattern. Because as you know, when I get new stash, I've got to match it to a pattern so that it's not stash. It's a potential project. It justifies it in my mind. You take your glare and you go shift it that way. Mm-hmm. So that's my stash enhancement. Do you have anything?
I have a book that you gave me with my socks, and sentimental needles, because it's the needles that he first learned on.
Yep. So I gave her my first set of 2 circs that I learned on, which are some Addies. One is a lace and one is a regular. And the reason why I gave her those is because when I have other 1.5s that I have moved to sock knitting. But I think it's really good to learn on because the cables are 2 different colors. So when you're learning for knitting in the round on 2 circs, a lot of times people end up with all their stitches on one needle because they pick up the wrong needle. So the nice thing is this kind of helps differentiate the back and the front needle. So I thought it would help her in learning. All right, our giveaway this episode. I dug into our generous prize bin and I picked out some yarn to give away this episode. And I'm going to be giving away 2.5 skeins of Spud and Chloe sweater, which is a worsted weight. And this is put out by Blue Sky Alpacas, who's now just Blue Sky, I believe. And this is a beautiful yarn. It feels really nice, soft, but yet dense. It's got some weight to it. And it is 55% wool, 45% organic cotton. So that's where that density is coming from. 100 grams, 160 yards. So it says worsted, but it's running about an errand. So, but our fairy yarn mother, I believe, gifted us a full skein of white and a full skein of black, and maybe like a half skein. You'll have to weigh it and do the yardage of the black. And I think this would make for some really striking color work, like hat or mittens. That you could do, and you know they're going to have the warmth of the wool, but they're going to have even more durability because of the cotton as well. So these are up for grabs in our Ravelry group right now. Our thread is open. You do need to be a member of the group, and you do need to answer our prompt. Our prompt is something. Do you prefer talking over the phone or face to face? So that is the prompt for this giveaway. So go on over, 1 post per person. It is a no chatter thread, so you will not be able to reply. That will be open for 3 weeks until we record again. How would you answer that?
We all know I don't.
She just
like
doesn't want to
phone.
talk in general.
No, I like to, but I don't know. I like to sit back and like listen and observe. I'm that kind of person. But no, I absolutely hate the phone. The only person besides, like, let's say my mom or he calls me, which is rare, we just text, is my best friend Megan. Like, she'll call me and, well, I think it's because I don't have to talk. She just talks to me for like 2 hours straight and she's talking the entire time. But
That's
I love
how our
it.
mother is too.
Yeah. But no, I absolutely hate the phone. I'd much rather talk.
I despise the phone as well. I can talk on the phone. I do not like it, especially with the business. I do not put my phone number out there as much as I try not to. We try to do everything digitally.
Now everyone's going to find your phone number.
Just saying, we Googled it, and like on the first page, both Andy and Amanda were like, yeah, it's listed like in 6 different places. So, and that's my personal phone as of right now. That may be changing when we get the studio. We have to figure out how we're hooking up internet, and our current provider, because it's a commercial building, is insisting that we have to have a business account with them, not just internet. And if we get that, then we would have a designated phone line, which is what I would like anyway. But Andy, being the financier, is like, we don't need to spend that money. Well, we need internet. So, but when people want us to call them shop owners, I'm like, over to you, Andy. And he's really good about it. So yeah, go on enter for that giveaway. That brings us into a round of applause, and we are going to announce the winner of last episode's giveaway was, oh no, that's a prize for this week. Oh, I meant to talk about that. Here it is.
There's so
How
much
many books
stuff.
can I have on my cart? So last episode we were giving away a book on Tunisian crochet. Excuse me. And the prompt last episode was, what is your favorite place to shop? The winner of that was number 7, who's Try Linda, and that's Linda from Southampton, Pennsylvania. And she said, I do a lot of my shopping online. And I think a lot of us have gone that route anymore. So congratulations, Linda. If you would, please private message Amanda, Dramatic Mandy, and she will get that shipped out to you. Only because if it's in the next few days, we can work together to ship it out. But that way I know she gets it if I'm on the road, because I will be gone for about 2 weeks. She can get that shipped out to you. All right? So Dramatic Mandy, and give her your first and last name, mailing address, and an email address if you'd like tracking on your prize. So yeah, I was gonna say, I think most of us shop online.
Where's she from?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, because the award-winning photographer's from Pennsylvania too.
Well, there we go. Okay. She notices the small things in life. Yeah. Yeah, it's so easy how Amazon has made it anymore, hasn't it? I know, big box, whatever, small business too, but
not when you're as frugal as me.
She was on Prime for like, what, 2 weeks?
Well, because I had it for free. But Amazon, their prices are typically more expensive than if I go to the store. So I'm going to go to the store.
We did want to remind you that we are going to do our question and answer episode for our Podiversary this weekend. So go on over to the Dramatic Knits video podcast group on Ravelry, and there is a thread. We have a couple of questions posted there. So I'm hoping to bring the iPad, and maybe we'll record from our sleazy hotel room at the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, because I voted to go with the cheaper hotel, which is super swanky. So
it's one night.
I know. So we'll, if we have enough energy, maybe we'll record then. If not, we'll record Saturday evening after we get back. All right, January's over. I know, it's crazy. We're in February, and then you're not going to see us again for a regular episode till March. It just happens. But January is over, and so we drew for some winners for our Race to the Finished Object contest, which allows you to post anything that you finish in that month to that month's thread, and you'll be eligible for prizes. So this month, our January's physical prize is a copy of Yarn Play at Home, which is knitting designs for things around your home, which I think has its niche market, but is oftentimes overlooked. I know, especially for me, but there's things like you could do placemats and coasters and table runners and cushion covers and throws and receiving blankets and pillows and tea towels and tea cozies and all that fun stuff. So the winner of this was number 34, who is Safe54. And that's Cheryl from Elgin, Illinois. So congratulations, Cheryl. She did a pair of striped Rose City rollers in the month of January. So congratulations. Again, if you would please contact Dramatic Mandy on Ravelry with your first and last name, mailing address, and an email address so we can send you tracking. Okay? And that will be going to you as well. And then our pattern winner, who wins a pattern of their choice from our featured designer, is... Our featured designer is Susie White, and she's part of Prairie Girl Designs. That's her line. And the winner of that was number 102, who is Yuki5, and that's Petra from the Netherlands. So congratulations, Petra. Petra did a beautiful cream with silver speckled sockhead hat. And so you get to any self-published pattern by Susie. And if you are looking for patterns, you can search on Ravelry for Susie White, or you can click on the link in our show notes at dramaticknits.com. Just let me know what pattern you would like, and as soon as I am able to, I will let Susie know, and she will gift you the pattern. That may be a little bit, depending on my travel schedule, but we'll get it done. So, that being said, the February 2019 Race to the Finished Object contest is open, and people are entering there. We will have another physical prize as well as another pattern from Susie, as she has graciously agreed to be with us for another 3 months as our featured designer. So if you, even if you didn't win, go in and check her design. She's got beautiful socks, shawls, accessories. The zigzagular socks are her pattern, which is a huge pattern on Ravelry. and are in my queue of things to eventually knit. All right, before we move into center stage, let me take a quick sip of pop. All right, all things Leading Men Fiber Arts. Let's start off with the Knitting at the Estate retreat. 2 weeks ago, we told you that signups were coming to a close and that the lottery was going to be drawn and that notifications were going to go out on February 1st. Notifications have gone out. We did end up with over 50% of, we ended up with 50% of attendees on the wait list. We had about 37 people who ended up on the wait list. We have already seen movement in the last week of people moving around or having to drop out for certain reasons due to medical, financial, or, one's husband surprising them with a trip to Italy. I'm not jealous at all. Just saying. So keep an eye out if you are on the waiting list. That is good news for you. We've been emailing people and moving them off the waiting list and into open spots. Now, if you have not done so and you want to stay up to date, or you just want to kind of get a feel for how the retreat is shaping up this fall, and you want to think about maybe applying for next year, we do have a Knitting at the Estate Ravelry group now up and running. We have an introductions and a general chatter thread, and one of our attendees has already also started an Operation Chemo Comfort hat drive knit along. So we're going to be collecting hats for the hat drive that we do in the fall, and I will be collecting them at the retreat and then mailing them as part of, on behalf of Dramatic Knits and Leading Men Fiber Arts, to Operation Chemo Comfort in Wisconsin like we usually do. So there will be some incentives which are listed in that thread for knitting hats or donating hats at the retreat. So I did want to say that the waitlist is moving. However, off-site spots I do foresee becoming available with after deposits are due, whether people pay or if other people have to drop out. However, we do not have anybody left on the wait list who is wanting an off-site spot. So what comes with an off-site spot is everything that's included with the retreat, all your meals, snacks, goodie bags, class, everything other than your lodging. So you would be responsible for booking your own hotel room either in the local vicinity, which there are 2 hotels, hotel motels in Monticello where the retreat's being held. They're about a 10-minute drive. Reasonably priced, not the most swanky of hotels, but close to the retreat and reasonably priced. And you would be responsible for incurring that cost. So the price of the retreat as an off-site attendee is only $500, but you would then need to book your own hotel room and pay for that on your own. Now, if you wanted to venture out, there is a thread in the Ravelry group that lists the 2 local hotels as well as a Hotels.com listing of hotels by vicinity. So if you want to drive in maybe 30 minutes, you could stay in Champaign or something like that and stay at a more higher quality hotel. And that's completely up to you. There are also some people who are local who have said that they're willing to, share a spare bedroom. So keep an eye out on the threads for that, and things of that nature. So how this is going to happen is as off-site spots become available, because I do foresee them happening, and there are no more people on the waiting list that would like an off-site spot, we are going to just put those and list those as products in the Leading Men Fiber Arts shop. So you would go in, and when spots are available, I'll have it as the first listing, and it will say Knitting at the Estate off-site spot, and it will be $300 is the deposit, and you will have to pay that up front and purchase that in the shop, and then you will be attending the retreat. And then from there, I will contact you to fill out the questionnaire that everybody had to fill out and get you on the payment plan and all that jazz. But that way we can have products and have the amount of spots listed in the shop. It's all connected to our PayPal and whatnot. That being said, while I am appreciative of the lottery and how we ran things this year, I can already tell you for 2020, it will be a first come, first serve. The lottery was kind of fun, but not at the same time. Amanda can attest to that. The amount of spreadsheets and things that we have to have going all at once to make sure, and the amount of concerns and movement of people, we're going to list it in the Lehman Fiber Art Shop next year, and we'll have a certain amount of spots. You will pay your deposit when you pay it, and that will lock down your spot for next year. So I thought I would try it this way, and it wasn't my favorite way. You live and you learn, and you move on. But we're super excited about the retreat. We had some discussions this week about some other things that will be coming up, and yeah, so just keep an eye out. If you have any questions, you can email knittingattheestate@gmail.com with any questions, and I or Amanda will get back to you as soon as we can. So, by the way, if you were accepted to the retreat, your deposits are due February 15th. I have had one person reach out and say that PayPal did not email them about the invoice. So check your PayPal. I will be sending reminder emails out a few days before they are due, but if it is not paid by February 15th, come February 16th, I'm going to start pulling off the wait list, so just keep that in mind. All right, March's colorway. I know, this is the first episode in February, right? And it's the beginning of February-ish, but March is going to be here before we know it, and we will not be officially recording again until March 3rd. So, that being said, I wanted to show you, because we're ahead of our game, because we're going to be traveling, March's colorway of the month, which Amanda helped us name. So, Andy came up with the colorway. Here's the swatch. It is not blocked yet. Isn't it neat? And this is called what, Amanda?
Nevermore.
Nevermore, yeah. So, Nevermore, like from Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. And the reason why is because we were looking at this color, and it's that beautiful purple green with like the dark twilight grays in there, and we thought of like the sheen on a raven's wing, the feather, a raven's feather, and so we went from the Raven to Nevermore. So this will be March's colorway of the month. Pre-orders will go up March 1st and will remain open through March 8th. You can order this on any base we have available. So thank you.
I just want to look at it.
You can put it on your own shoulder.
But then I can't look at it.
All right. So I thought I would show you some new samples that are going to be premiering at Stitches West. Some of these are ours, and most of these are the designers who generously and graciously sent them to go on tour with us. And so I wanted to show you, because we will have kits and or the patterns in the booth for these. This is by no means all the patterns or all the samples that will be going with us, but these are new ones that need to be tagged. And so I thought I would show them to you. So the first up are two shawls, both designed by Lori Wagner, who is out of California. This first one she designed as a premiere at our Stitches SoCal booth this past fall, and that is Jeweled Echoes, not Eccles, Jeweled Echoes, which features two skeins of our monologue base, which is a superwash merino, yak, and silk. And so you start here, and it's got this textured section, and then she wanted to fade into a new color without the harsh stripes. So you've got some mosaic knitting, which is all done with slip stitches here. And then you end up with some lace. And Lori loves to include beading, especially in her edges. And so she's got some beads there. So we will have kits for this color combo as well as individual patterns. And the kits will come with enough beads to do the beading here as well. But our beads are a crystal bead, where she has more access to her stash of beads to match the specific colors. We bought crystal, so no matter what color combo you choose, you would have beads that could go with it. So texture, mosaic, and lace, you get a little bit of everything, and beading. It's a great kind of keep you engaged, but I just thought it was an awesome shawl.
I to learn how to do mosaic.
Super easy. Yeah,
Oh,
you'll
is
have
it?
it's just slipping stitches.
Oh, it's so pretty.
So it's so much easier than color work where you're having to do 2 colors on the same row. It's slipping one row and then, knitting back. And those slip stitches are what creates the color work. While she was in her booth at Stitches SoCal, she picked up 2 skeins of our Diva base to design another shawl, and she has designed it and just recently released it this week. This is Tavira, Tavira, and it is a crescent shaped shawl using, again, our Diva base in Sandcastle and Perfection. So you've got some textured stitches and stripes, and then you go into some lace and more stripes. And then again, she uses beads in her bind off, which I have this color combo dyed up. And again, it's got the crystal beads with it. I'm hoping to get one more color combo dyed up before we leave for West this weekend. But we'll have to see how the move with the studio goes and what we can get done. So Jeweled Echoes and Tavira by Lori Wagner will be showcased in our while we're on the road, but especially at Stitches West, which, by the way, if you're going to Stitches West, we hope to see you there. We are going to be in booths 1019 through 1023. If you go in the main door and turn right and go all the way down to the last aisle of the front section, we are going to be on that aisle, but almost to the corner where the front and back section meet. So we will be right in front of and to the side of Red Heart Yarns. And the beginning of our aisle is the Oregon Woodworker. So if you see that, we're not too far. All right, and then we got some samples in that we had knitted up for us. And y'all, I'm so excited that these are in, and I can't wait for the coordinating piece to get here this week because we had an amazing sample knitter, Mary. Oh my gosh, Mary came to the call, and she knit in about 2 weeks a rather large fingering weight colorwork sweater for us for Stitches, and it should be here right before we leave. So, but Sue, who is also local to us in the Central Illinois area, did the coordinating hat and mittens. So this is the Go Big or Go Gnome hat by Sarah Shira. And this is the original colors that it was designed in: Sandcastle, Poison Apple, and Dames at Sea.
I'd say you better put it on.
So that's the hat. It's a fingering weight hat with some color work. And this is a paid for pattern. And then it comes with coordinating mittens called the Go Big or Go Gnome Mittens, which was featured in the latest issue of Knitty. So this is free. And we will have kits for this, and it is a reasonable price kit. It takes 1 full skein of the Sandcastle and half of the red and half of the blue. It is a very reasonably priced kit, and you will get the paid for pattern as well as a copy of the free pattern. You will also get a digital download code for the hat, not for the mittens because they're free, but I will have printed copies as well as all the charts needed for all the sizes. And there's the hat and mittens. Look how cool this is. So the sweater is going to be in the same colors, and it has gnomes all across the yoke. We're going to be gnoming it up at Stitches. And so what's awesome, too, is that Sarah is coming over from Canada to Stitches West, and she's going to be wearing her sweater, and she may be visiting the booth at some time. So
Redo your pose. Redo your pose. That's not your pose.
I don't remember what I did.
It looked like that. Look, I haven't changed my wallpaper in 2 years, and I had to. Look how cute he is.
It was in our Instagram stories.
So cute.
When these came, but so excited. The most adorable thing. I only have 5 kits of this dyed up for Stitches. I'm hoping to get another 5 dyed up before we go, but it's just a matter of time and some major stuff going down with moving and. All right, the last sample I want to show you is a crocheted sample. So we are going to have 2 crochet samples in the booth. We're going to have the Wicked Little Town Scarf by Quillen Stark? Why does that sound weird to me? I think it's Quillen Stark. and that's a crocheted cable scarf. We will have kits for that as well. And then we also are going to have patterns for the Waiting for Fall poncho by Kim Simpson. And this seems like such a simple crochet project, but it is got a beautiful overall aesthetic. So it looks like you pretty much crochet 2 panels and you put them together via some seaming and buttons. I could be wrong in that, I don't know. But Kim was nice enough to send us this sample, which she got the yarn for this at SSK last year, the Super Summer Knit Together in Nashville. This is crocheted out of our Dramaturg DK weight base in the Gatsby colorway. And yeah, so we'll have patterns for this. If you're a crocheter, come check us out. We've got some crochet support now that we're trying to come out with a little bit more. And so yeah, this will be available. We're not going to kit this up because I think the skein differences based on the sizes, I need to kind of look at that again. But there will be plenty of yarn in the booth for you to shop for this, and we will have the patterns available as well if you're a crocheter and you're looking for something new. So that's the Waiting for Fall poncho by Kim Simpson. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you those because, it's been a while since we've had a finished object, especially me. So it's kind of nice to show you some finished samples that you can see in person if you visit us at our booth anytime this year. All right, last but not least, I want to talk to you about upcoming shows because it's not just 2, it's now 3 before we see each other again. Because, yeah, I'm hitting the ground running. So this weekend, Amanda and I will be attending and vending at the Knitting Pipeline Retreat. The market will be open on Saturday from, I believe, 2 to 4 p.m. at the, can't remember the church. It will be in the Knitting Pipeline group. It is a major church in Washington, right off some of the side highways, the country highways. Can't miss it. If you're interested, just look up Knitting Pipeline February retreat and you should find more information. It is totally free to get in. Right now I think there's 5 vendors. Myself, Daisy Knits, Yarn Geek Fibers, Prairie Bag Works will be there, and then a designer. I'm not sure if anybody else will be there, but there will be retreat attendees, and it's going to be a good time. And we're going to bring as much yarn as we can fit in the car because Andy's going to be packing the van. And so as much as we can possibly fit in that car, we will take.
I just had an image of my head of you ever see one of those jokes where people open the car and all the balls fall out, but instead it's just skeins of yarn?
Worst nightmare. But it won't happen now that we're in tubs. No, we had that happen one year. I think our first Vogue we ever did, we had the vacuum bags like I was telling you,
yeah.
And a guy went to grab one of the bags and he opened it or split it, and we had yarn go all over the dock. And I was like, and luckily as we hung it up, we made sure all the yarn was fine, and it was. But I mean, when that's your livelihood going all over that greasy dock, which it wasn't, but in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh. Ah. Anyway, so Knitting Pipelines this weekend. Then on Sunday, we get home Saturday afternoon. On Sunday, bright and early, Andy and I are hitting the road for Santa Clara, California. This will be our second Stitches West. It will take us approximately 3 days to get there, 3 12-hour days. He was looking at our first stop, if we stop at the same town we were at last year, Elk City, Oklahoma. Takes us about 12 hours. That'll be day 1, and then we will get to Flagstaff, and then we will get to Santa Clara on Tuesday evening, or just outside, and then Wednesday we will set up, and Thursday we will relax and then have the market preview. We're looking forward to having dinner with Barb and Tracy of the Two Knitlet Chicks on Friday evening. We've already scheduled that. And then I think we will be having lunch with some friends and vendor friends, hopefully on Saturday. And then Sunday night we will pack up, find a bite to eat, and then we will be heading back home early Monday morning, and we will get home late Wednesday night. Yeah. We had talked about actually going to San Francisco for a day or two and not coming home at all, but then we realized that that would be a long stretch. So we will be home for about a day and a half, and then we are leaving and heading to Iowa City for Shepherd's Market. We have not been to Shepherd's Market in about 3 years. We've ended there once, and then it just turned out because of scheduling conflict that we can never do their fall show. And the second year, I was supposed to do the spring show, Andy and I, and I got a kidney stone, so I had to back out last minute. And then last year, there was a scheduling conflict, I believe, with the trunk show or another event. But this year it worked out, so they had to move the date up a little bit, and we're going to be vending. So that is, excuse me, March 2nd. It's Saturday. It's a one-day show in Iowa City. You can Google search Shepherd's Market, Iowa, and you will find it and find their website. Or there is a direct link in our show notes, which can be found at dramaticknits.com. So I think that's all we have to talk about this episode. It's been a lengthy episode, and I forgot about a book review I've been meaning to do for like 2 months now. And so we'll hold on to that till the next episode.
For another 2 months.
I brought it upstairs. It's been sitting buried under paperwork in the studio. And then I brought it upstairs, but it was buried under my stash enhancement and other things. So it's all right. We'll leave you with just this episode, but you'll have something to look forward to again when we see you in 3 weeks. But don't forget to check us out with our Q&A episode on our Podiversary, which will be I'll post it on Saturday, whether we record it on Friday or Saturday. What's fun is that's our actual Podiversary of 8 years that Dramatic Knits has been in production. And if you have been with us all 8 of those years since back in the day of Blip, where it all started, and now to iTunes, YouTube, and the blog, thank you so much. And if you're new, thanks for giving us a shot. And, you know,
I'm new too.
She's relatively new since August, and you know what? Let's just get knitting out there, and let's make it more visible, and let's make crafting and the sense of making more visible, and let more people find it, so that for a lot of us, it's a sense of therapy. And I think that more people need that in their lives. So I won't go on a soapbox. I'm going to stay right where I'm at on that. But until we see you again, either next weekend with the Q&A or in 3 weeks with another episode, we hope you
knit something
dramatic.